Welcome to the Property Podcast. Here we talk about property laws, property rights, and sometimes property investment. Today we'll be looking at neighbors that are fighting over 40 centimeters. My name is Rose Kenya. I am your trusted property advisor. If you do not yet trust me, it means we have not spent enough time together. So subscribe, stay tuned for more episodes like this. Now, this happened in Limpopo. A lot of funny things in South Africa happen in Limpopo. I love you all, my Limpopo people. Anyways, this couple has a property. They recently bought this property. After buying the property, they realized that their car cannot drive into their driveway. So upon doing investigations, they find that their neighbor has built over their land by 40 centimeters. I did say I brought you a ruler to show you what 40 centimeters is. That is a ruler that is 30 centimeters. You add 10 centimeters, that's 40 centimeters. So these people have built their garage over their boundary line by this much, and the next door couple cannot drive into their garage because of the people that have only encroached by 40 centimeters. This goes to show you how important knowing where your boundary is, because you might be making someone's life difficult just because you encroached to 40 centimeters. And even though you think Ukuti, that's not important, it's not that big, it's just a little bit of land, it went all the way to the court. A judge had to decide whether or not the 40 centimeters was supposed to be demolished of the garage that was encroaching. So for the people that had recently bought a property, if I was one of them and I'd known that there was an issue like that, I would not have wanted to get involved in that, because after making your neighbors demolish 40 centimeters, you still have to live with them. So how would you know? Okay, let's say you want to buy a property and you don't know, you can't see it with your naked eyes, you don't know that there are encroachments. How would you know? What I would ask you to do is ask for a land survey certificate or a beacon certificate from the seller of the property. If you are buying a property, ask them for a beacon certificate. That certificate will say if there's any issues, encroachment issues, if the building matches the building plans. So the certificate is supposed to let you know if the building has deviated in any way from the building plans, and let you know if there are any issues that are existing, like encroachment issues. That's what the certificate is for. So ask for that from the seller. If the seller is dodgy, if by certificate, know there might be issues there. Talk to the neighbors before you buy. The neighbors will know if there's a reason that this person who's selling the property is selling. If there were any issues between these neighbors, and that's the reason that one of them is selling. So you don't want to buy into a beef when you don't buy a property so that you can start fighting with your neighbors. You buy into a property so that you can live peacefully. So speak to the neighbors, hear them out, hear if there's any issues that exist between those neighbors, and ask for a report. Ask a land surveyor to do a report for you. This report will show you if there are any servitudes. Let's say you're buying a property and there's no encroachment, nothing, but the neighbor, one of your neighbors, has a right to pass through your property, and you don't know this because it's not revealed by the estate agent that's selling you the property and the seller. And so you're sitting with the property that has someone else who has a right on it, and when you don't even know this, and you start working on that land only to find that you were not supposed to even be using it, even though it's yours. Now, to the neighbors that unknowingly built a garage over the boundary, it's the same story. All they had to do after getting building plans approved, I can imagine even the building plans were not approved for that garage, but if the building plans were approved, then after getting the building plans approved, remember your building plans are supposed to be done by an architectural profession. I will do another video where I explain all these professions to you, but your garage that's done for you by your architectural professional is supposed to be set out by a land surveyor. Land surveyor is only important to tell you ukuthi this is where your boundary is. Nangu umngcele wakho. Do not go past this point, because even if you go past that point by 10 centimeters, you cannot force your neighbor to sell you that 10 centimeters just because you've made that mistake. If they ask you to demolish your piece of land, you will have to. You can never ever force them in any way. You can't even go to a court and say to the court that your neighbor is being unreasonable by asking you to demolish just because you've encroached. You can't do that. A person has a right on umhlaba wabo. If you decide by mistake to encroach onto their land, they can and they will ask you to demolish, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you threaten them. Yes, we can't fight that. So the lesson for today, before you buy a property, make sure that there isn't anything that are lingering or that are hidden that you know nothing about as a property that you're buying into. I promise you, a lot of times when people are selling a property, there's a reason for that. That's number one. Number two, if you are the neighbor that has wronged the other neighbors, what they should have done is they shouldn't have built without firstly getting approved building plans, and secondly without getting a land surveyor to point to them the boundary so that bazi intobana they can't go over that boundary line in building their garage. Then if you are sitting at home and you're thinking the neighbors that were encroached upon are unfair because of 40 centimeters, I just want to point out something I didn't say, that these new people could not drive now into their own garage because of this 40 centimeters. So you cannot fit your car in if space asiko. If your car is meant to go in, the only space left between your neighbor and yourself is this big, and that space is taken, you can't fit your car. So no, they were not being unreasonable. So get professionals whenever you're doing work, whenever you're building, whatever you are building, get the right people to assist you so that you don't have to demolish something you've already built, so that you don't have to watch your investment go down the drain. That is Urose Kenya, your trusted property advisor. Remember to like, share this video, and then subscribe down below. Also comment with anything that you may have that you would like to talk about that is property related. See you on the next video. Bye.